Welcome to Money on Tap, your personal finance headquarters, where we bring out the professionals' experience and some fun in what we call three-dimensional investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning. And we believe wise investing starts with a plan, your plan. And your investments may have merit and relevance to a time and place, but this all depends on you, your objectives, and your goals. My name is Seth Cressman, and I'm here with Ben Brayshaw and John Ryder, and we're all planners and partners with Brayshaw Financial Group. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Seth. We are going to have some fun today, I can tell you that.
That is correct. I'm ready for some fun, Johnny.
Did you say I was right, Ben? Thank you very much.
I guess you did.
We're all glad you're listening to Money on Tap, and if you're looking to sit down with an advisor, start making some of the right steps towards your financial goals, we welcome the opportunity to do that with you, and you can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. You can also find us at Facebook at 3D Investing. So today, we're going to be jumping into a topic that we've used before, or an idea that we roll out a lot, and that's building your financial house. And it's something I think that we can all kind of relate to. Sometimes one of the challenges that we have is creating something that's tangible for people to sit down, talk about, and understand. Hey, what am I doing here with my finances? Why are we doing what we're doing with our finances? And a house really is a metaphor that works perfectly in most cases for what we're trying to accomplish in creating retirement plans. And there's a couple of different sides of that. We're gonna prepare you. This is not going to be something that you've really ever heard before, even though we've talked about it a lot. But we're going to bring a couple of different pieces in here that's really interesting to pay attention to. So hold on to your seats, folks. You're about to jump into building your financial house and how you can get going on that project. But before we do that, it's time for Money in the News.
Now, Ben, you have an article that you came across that I thought was kind of cool.
Hold on, John. Where's the beef?
Okay, now that would be about Wendy's. So I got to ask you. So our first story has to do with McDonald's bringing back fresh beef back into the market. Which, my question is this: what have we been eating these past several years if it's not fresh?
Well, that's why.
Or beef at all.
I know. I heard one time that a McDonald's hamburger comes from 28 different cows. So all these different things mixed together from a lot of different conglomeration of different things.
Yeah, it's like vitamins. You take a lot of different vitamins. You take a lot of different cows.
I've never heard McDonald's compared to vitamins before, but I guess I'll go with that, Ben.
No, I just think it's funny when I saw this article. The first thing that popped in my head was "Where's the beef?" with those old Wendy's commercials, which I thought were hilarious.
Oh, sure.
They open up the bun.
Yeah, the old lady with the big, huge bun and the little sauce, hamburger patty on there. Yeah.
No, but this is a pretty interesting article. So McDonald's has been working on for the last 4 years. They've been working on rolling out fresh beef, which is a little concerning, but I'm glad
just a little.
4 years to get to roll out fresh beef.
That's horrible. But anyways, they've already had 3,500 domestic restaurants, implement this, and they have 14,000 more stores that will be implemented by May.
This chain is so big. I mean, it's huge. We're just talking amongst ourselves here. I mean, I don't know. I haven't gone to McDonald's in ages for a hamburger.
After we're done here, I'm running out the door.
You know you're not, because they haven't implemented at your one yet. You know it. But, Five Guys has taken over the world, and In-N-Out. So they only have 1,700 locations, Five Guys. That's a lot. But you just said something about 14,000 for McDonald's?
That's just how many that haven't implemented this yet.
Unbelievable.
In the U.S.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Well,
can you even compare a McDonald's hamburger to a Five Guys? I mean, can you even? Now, I know it's hard for Ben, because Ben, when I go to get a hamburger with Ben likes to get it with no bun, with lettuce, with nothing fun.
Jalapenos, onions, all sorts of good stuff.
You do get a lot of stuff on it. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you can compare the prices, but after that, I don't think they're anywhere.
There's no comparison.
Close to being the same product at all.
Yeah, I can't remember honestly the last time I had a McDonald's.
No.
Hamburger.
No.
But I mean, I have, I do remember.
offense,
I went
folks.
I went to McDonald's. I remember after one of my kids' soccer games because that's where the bus was stopping
Yeah.
or whatever, and we got a salad, which was, it was okay. It was good.
Was it real salad?
I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
I have no idea. It was green. It might have been a green burger.
Yeah.
But so as reading through this, it's just interesting. They've had people that have worked there for more than 40 years, and that have been helping along the way to improve their menu from a health standpoint, because they have always been the the dollar savvy
Yes.
kind of place to go eat.
Yes.
The dollar menu they came out with,
Yeah.
and all these different pieces that they've done, and then the demand is interesting. But it brings me back to that Jim Gaffigan, that comedian Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, yeah, sure.
When he says, he's like, who eats McDonald's hamburgers? Like, you ever talk to anybody? They never eat them, but billions of them are sold every year.
That's right. I never had one. Never.
Every day.
Probably after the advent of Uber Eats, it's just gotten higher because nobody actually has to set foot in McDonald's now to get their 40-piece chicken nugget meal.
Yeah.
They
But think about-
shake their head as they're
But
walking
he's
out
like,
the
he was
door.
talking about how the average there's like the average use of hamburgers is like they're selling 50 billion a year or whatever the number is. He's like, the average person's having 3 hamburgers a day. He's like, somebody's lying.
Someone's eating them. Yeah.
So
But so this is a flight to quality, though. Think about this. In the past several years, 7, 8, 9 years, think about how these smaller, like the In-N-Out, the Five Guys have taken over. Chipotle,
You guys have,
Chipotle.
you guys have Killer Burger there?
we don't. No.
Yeah. Okay, that's just a here thing.
Sounds good, though. I'll expect that treat when I
it's
head out
killer.
there. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. It's killer.
well, okay, so guys, real quick. So they tested this with more than 400 restaurants in Texas and Oklahoma, and they received a 90% satisfaction rating from customers, as well as 90% intent to repurchase rate. Well, what about the 10% that like the other meat?
Is there really 10% that like that?
Or you're going to get like
Gotta
a
be,
new Coke
'cause it's
thing going on here?
90
Like the Coke Classic, like McDonald's Classic and new McDonald's?
Yeah.
Like they're going to have to
Like
roll out
Coke
two
and
different...
Coke Classic? Is that what
Guys,
you're
I'm
talking
getting
about?
hungry here. We're going out afterwards. We're all hitting McDonald's afterwards.
Well, anyways, I'm happy to see McDonald's,
A flight to quality.
flight to quality. That's good to see. It's good to see. Their transparency is, was remarked in the article, and I do believe that I remember seeing, when I got my salad, the calories on everything, which is good. But you do see that. My favorite burger right now is Wendy's.
Is it even over Five Guys? Or
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you guys, we've spent probably 10 minutes now talking about burgers.
What's wrong with that, Seth?
Going to lunch.
Wow, Seth. We'll see you later, Seth. We're going to grab lunch now.
We skipped breakfast for this, you guys. So we're
Okay, so let me just tell you this. So the next story we want to talk about real quickly. Hey, do you guys ever watch Shark Tank? Do you guys ever watch that?
I do.
Okay, so they got some funny characters on there. You got Kevin O'Leary, who's the Mr. Wonderful, and you got Barbara Corcoran, she's a real estate lady, Damon John. So anyway, they had this guy on Shark Tank. It was a couple of years ago. This guy was a founder of a company called The Ring. Have you guys heard of Ring before? It's this deal where if you're away from home, when someone rings your doorbell, it has a video inside of a video camera inside of there, and it's actually taking a video of the delivery person by your door. And they really got into this market because a lot of people were ringing doorbells, and they check to see if anyone's home. If no one answers the door, they're going to figure out how to go in the back door and break in. So this guy founded this out of his basement. So anyways, he goes on Shark Tank several years ago and is trying to market his product, and no one gives him an offer, although Kevin O'Leary, who is known for this, Mr. Wonderful, gives him a terrible offer, something he couldn't even refuse. So he says, no, I can't do it. So anyway, he goes off of there. The next month, his sales increased by $1 million. Now, this guy, successful guy, he's started other businesses in the past, but he was really on a shoestring budget here. In fact, he spent his last $10,000 or $12,000 to actually build a set to get onto Shark Tank and to actually present. So he was really going through, and he had volunteers helping him and all that. So his business right now is for sale on Amazon for $1.1 billion. He's a guy that turned it around. He figured out how to attract investors. In fact, he actually had a celebrity. Do you see that he had a celebrity guy that came to help him pitch the Ring concept? It was actually Shaquille O'Neal, who actually has a pretty big stake in the company now. Yeah. And interestingly enough, the guy Richard Branson, Richard Branson, who, everyone knows Richard Branson from Virgin Airlines, that type of thing. He actually got involved in it because he had someone come to his place. I think it was in Bermuda where he has a place, or Virgin Islands, and a delivery man rung the doorbell there, and they were able to converse back and forth. And he was like, "This is pretty cool. I like the fact that I don't have to go out of my house and talk to the guy. It can just be taken care of from here. I can tell him where to leave it," that type of thing. So I thought that was a pretty fascinating story. I think that is one of the greatest things about being in the country that we're in. It's the fact that you can if you work hard and you are innovative and you put a lot of sweat equity into things can happen for you, and things can turn around from a guy that was just making it by to a guy that is
Well, the interesting part of that article that I thought was the number of, I don't know, his system must not have been patented well, but there's 12 more coming to the market?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think you need to get in fast because, there's a bunch of competition coming in. As recently as last year, they were saying they had a 97% share of U.S. video doorbell sales. But this year, there's, I think, a half a dozen copycats that are coming in. I guess they're kind of coming in on the low side, and the quality doesn't seem to be nearly as good and all that. But yeah, once you come up with an idea, you better patent it quick and get out of the market, sell it and get out, which this guy's doing.
Which probably all those guys on Shark Tank did.
Yeah.
They're probably behind all of those.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, congratulations to him.
I think it's interesting that you have a group of entrepreneurs who really have a honed skill set in identifying opportunities and investing in those and taking those to a marketplace much larger than the original idea maybe would have been able to grab. And they weren't able to see this. They were just completely unable to see this. And I love how it turns it around.
Yes.
And you're talking about a $1.1 billion sale.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
It is phenomenal.
Congratulations. And how amazing is that this is a place where we have an opportunity to do that right here, in the U.S. And it's still an idea factory, and there's still opportunity and for people to take those ideas and turn them into something. And Kira actually has one of these at her office.
Okay.
And she loves it because they've got a retail space, but they're a small shop and they can't be there all the time. So now that people, will ring the doorbell, and she'll be able to have, communicate with them, and they can feel.
I like the safety side of that.
Yes.
Safety side's strong.
Well, it's interestingly enough, I just thought of this stuff when you were talking about Kira having it. We actually have that at our school. So when we go to the office, rather than having the door open up right off, it's locked, because of all the crazy stuff going on in today's world. So you hit a little monitor button, and a video camera comes up, and the receptionist at the front desk can see you, can buzz you in if she recognizes you and all that. So I think that's pretty neat.
That's what
usually they don't let me in. I don't know why it is. They don't let me in. I don't know why. It's like, come on.
Oh, we know why.
So here's a new idea.
Yeah.
Right? Mandatory retirement accounts to help workers delay claiming Social Security.
Okay, this article is scary.
Yeah.
Straight up.
It's not even Halloween, and it's scary.
Here's the proposal, okay? And this is what it would be. It would create a retirement savings account that would enable people to postpone the age which they claim Social Security, thereby increasing monthly benefits. Now, the idea comes from some people considered policy experts from AARP and Emeritus at I can't say that correctly. Center at George Mason University, the Brookings Institution, but the proposed supplemental transition account for retirement called STARTS would be mandatory and fully integrated into the Social Security program, funded by employees and employers, and a progressive government contribution. And so basically it would gap the retirement from early retirement, right, say 60, 62, to age 70, allowing those Social Security benefits to increase or take advantage of that increase that the Social Security system offers year over year until age 70. But it is still a government program and it's like a supplemental.
Is that concerning to you, Seth, that it's like government funded?
I like more government. That makes they did such a good job with Social Security. Let's give them another program to run for retirement.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw that, Seth, when you showed me that, I didn't have a great feeling about it. I just didn't.
Well, what's interesting is, and we're going to see. This is obviously not something that's getting put in place but it is being talked about by some major players. I think the thing that's concerning about this is that it's just another Social Security system. I mean, in reality, that's what it is. It's like
supplemental Social Security.
Hey, Social Security's failed, so here's Social Security Light. Was it what you called it, Seth?
Yeah, Social Security Light, right?
It's there's going to be something that's going to happen here, and everyone's searching for it. But the truth is that it's going to end in, we need more money out of your pocket to fund it because we haven't handled the money right, and we haven't invested Social Security. Buying our own treasury, Social Security would have done better.
Well, people are looking for solutions. The closer that you get to retirement, and if there hasn't been a savings in place, and realizing that Social Security really isn't going to cover that base of not needing to work. There's the desire to be taken care of, and I understand that. But the belief that the government is the one that should do it or can do it has failed, I think, and that's the piece that is elusive, and I think that's the thing that will ultimately just not work over time. And I think it would be really sad to create another program that people start believing in and then have them hung out to dry.
Seth, back in 2008, I don't know if you guys remember when the markets were really tanking pretty badly, and everyone was getting all concerned about the securities industry and how their portfolios were going down for valid reasons. Certainly portfolios were getting hit pretty hard. That's when the government was starting to talk a lot about these government-sponsored annuities. So, hey, give us your money, and we will trade the money that you give us for a guaranteed income down the road. And just not the way that I think we want to go as far as the direction, as far as now it's the government's chance to invest money for us. I don't know.
Handing this over to the government is not a reasonable solution in my mind in any capacity. I know that people want to be taken care of because they don't want to work or deal with the struggles of understanding the financial pieces of this. But I think as we work through things with clients and understanding, needs and incomes and, expectations and timing and so forth, that's something the government can't do. So that's if you need a specific amount of money today versus what you need tomorrow. We have people who do declining incomes. We have people who do increasing incomes because of various reasons. We have people who say, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do, and then this is my next step. I'm going to spend this money down, and then I'm going to sell this other home I have." I've had clients do that. I've had all sorts of different pieces which you couldn't do with just a flat program and so forth. But I am concerned that we all know Social Security is in significant trouble. The world is aware of that, and I don't think adding more government programs is really the right move. I think their management and their failure to actually address Social Security in a better way, even between now and then, and how it's invested, shows their lack of ability to manage the assets.
Absolutely.
There you have it, folks. That's our take on political pundency today. You are listening to Money on Tap. And if you're looking to sit down with an advisor, start making some of the right steps towards your financial goals, we welcome the opportunity to do that with you. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Ben Brayshaw, one of the co-hosts of Money on Tap. If you have questions when it comes to your retirement and are looking for a personalized solution, contact us at Brayshaw Financial Group. In today's volatile stock market, we can help you plan to find your successful retirement solution. Am I saving enough? Am I saving into the right places? Do my investments match my appetite for risk? Do I have a tax strategy that is going to help me keep more of what I earn? How can I maximize my Social Security income? If you are like most people, you are getting closer and closer to your retirement and may be wondering if you're taking the right steps. If you're in retirement, you may be wondering, am I maximizing my income while preserving my estate and caring for my family? We talk about all things financial in what we call three-dimensional investing, putting a plan around your financial future. If you feel that now is the time to start getting the answers to some of these questions for your own situation, give us a call at Brayshaw Financial Group at 855-226-8551. Headquartered in Bedford, New Hampshire, we have offices throughout New England and across the country. We would love the opportunity to show you how we can help. There's absolutely no cost or obligation just to meet with us, and we welcome you to our office. Call us at 855-226-8551.
On this Cliff Notes edition of Money on Tap, Seth, Ben, and John show us there's plenty to celebrate with the tax reform plan, especially in the way of education and the 529 college savings account.
Part of what we can do more, and actually just got written into the code now, how do we help parents with their kids and their planning and this path that they're on, especially in education, being a big part of what we've been needing more shoring up maybe in our culture, the education piece. Basically, the point is that education, public or private, is basically the thing that we're trying to take a look at and understand how do we move into different opportunities with our education and create better education. Well, the 529 college savings account has been a post grade 12 plan for savings and funding college.
Stuff, yeah.
Right. Well, that now is open to K through 12 for people that are using that as a tool for private education. I think a huge opportunity, depending especially where you live in the U.S. and what your state tax code might be. In Oregon, it's a great opportunity for people that are doing that.
This is just pointing to another middle class benefit. I mean, people who say, hey, my child's gifted. I've been putting away a few bucks a month to try to help save for their college education. But you know what? And we have a client, John, right, who's saved for 529. Child's probably going to get a full scholarship to college.
Yeah, and right now they're looking at private boarding school for her going into her 10th grade year, I think it is.
She won't need to pay for college at all.
Yeah, she'll have scholarship.
This is a huge opportunity for them.
For sure.
These are great things. I mean, these are huge positives that are like for every day. I was just thinking about it, John. So average family, 2-3 kids. But if you have 3 children, okay.
And I do.
And you do. That's a $6,000 tax credit, right? If you're in a 25% tax bracket, let's say you made a donation to charity of $24,000.
Yeah.
Your tax savings on that is $6,000, 25% tax bracket.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent. That's a ton of money realized back to you.
Going to the middle class once again, not just for the rich people there.
Thanks for joining us for this Cliff Notes edition of Money on Tap, with great tips from the pros in 3-dimensional investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning. Now here's more Money on Tap with Seth, Ben, and John.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money on Tap, your personal finance headquarters, where we bring out the professionals' experience and some fun in what we call 3-dimensional investing. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. Now, we had a really good time with the money in the news on that last segment. And if you want to get caught up on that because you missed all that was really fun. And if you felt like you got left out and missed all the fun stuff, you can go to yourmoneyontap.com and you'll be able to find this episode here soon of Building Your Financial House is what we're talking about today. Anyways, you can grab that and you can get caught up, or in any of the other episodes that maybe you haven't caught recently. So here it is, folks. We're going to talk about building your financial house, 3-dimensional planning, 3-dimensional investing, bringing to life this concept of, hey, I've got this money. I've got this goal. What is this going to look like? What kind of form and what kind of shape is this going to start to take in the future? Ben, you want to kick us off here?
Yeah, I think we've talked a lot about the different parts of the financial house, and we have. When we go over this with clients constantly and trying to help them understand, and we talk about 3-dimensional investing, but the truth is there's this 3-dimensional perspective to the financial house that we work with. We're not going to dive too deep. Some concerns on how much information we can actually get into here, just because of the allotted amount of time. But when we talk about a house, right, we talk about the different levels of the house. You have that foundational piece, and we've talked about in the past where some people have a basement that's full walkout basement, huge, big, and then people have slabs or concrete floors, or they just have a crawl space. I mean, there's different levels of stability that you want under your house,
in different ways in which you can build your house, right?
Right, yeah. Exactly. And we've talked about some people want an all cement home. My brother John actually builds.
That's right, he's a builder.
He builds ICF homes, which are huge cement homes. And so there's different levels of complexity in building houses, but ultimately we understand that as we move up the house, we start building with those kind of 2x4s and the sheetrock and the insulation, and those things can be damaged by fire and weather and so forth. But when you insure your house, you don't insure the foundation because the foundation, you pull away the rubble and
Still there.
it's still there. And then when you get to the roof, you protect that house with these shingles that you replace basically every 20 to 30 years. And there's a rotation to it. There's a risk evolving from that. That takes a huge pounding and a beating that ultimately protects the underlying structure. So there's different things to that. Now, when you start talking about the three-dimensional side of the house, John, as we go through this, and Seth, there's 4 sides, okay? The first side that we talk about with people, we talk about the investment side, the different layers of investments.
We spend a lot of time on that. We certainly do.
Which is what people ask us the most for.
Yeah.
And then there's probably the second most asked side, which is the actual post-retirement distribution side and the security around the different pieces there.
Creating a retirement income, in other words, for people. People want to know that they have that base foundation where they can have that base income coming every single month. It might be their pension. It might be annuity income. It might be
their IRA or their 401k.
Absolutely. Required minimum
Social
distributions they have to
Security.
take. Sure.
And then we have the kind of the legal side, right, which is the things that shore up a lot of the different pieces and how they're being handled and managed. And everything from wills to power of attorneys to healthcare directives. We start getting into the details of that, and everyone has a little bit different levels of needs of details.
And boy, is that important too. And we've just had, it just seems lately out of our office, we've had several clients that have passed away. In fact, Ben just got back from vacation and we're telling about it to someone else. It's just the way it works sometimes. It's sad. It's how life works. But, having proper planning in place, having power of attorneys in place, and having wills and trusts set up, make it so much easier.
Yeah, working with people for 20 years and plus, people start passing on, and we've had a number of people sadly move on in life, and and that's part of the long-term relationship that we build inside the houses that we work with. But that's the legal side. Then the back side of the house is kind of the insurance, the life insurance, maybe the disability insurance. There's term, there's permanent, there's all different levels and layers inside the insurance piece that I think people. It's kind of like the nuisance thing that people
Who
don't
wants
know.
to talk about insurance?
But honestly,
Right.
it's a real side of the house. Maybe it's the gable end, but it's still a very relevant piece. But when you tie all 4 of those together, and you create that 3-dimensional perspective of the home, that's when financial planning really starts taking place.
I like what you talked about financial planning because we are talking about building a house here. But one of the things that people often forget is the fact that when you build a house, what do you have to have in place before? You have to have planning documents, right? What do you call those? Blueprints. And those blueprints are key factors when you're building a house, because you just don't go out and start buying things, do you? You don't go out and buy cement and lumber and this and that. The first thing that you do is that you perhaps hire an architect.
Yeah.
That architect is responsible for putting blueprints together. So from there, you get a materials list. That's exactly what we're doing when we're helping people build a financial home. We've had the opportunity to help many people over the years build financial homes, and taking some time to actually determine what folks need before we actually get building that house and before we start investing makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I am going to get a little abstract here. One of the things that we don't have over here that as far as like styles of houses that I love about the New England houses is the farmhouse, right? The one that starts out as this like little cottage, and from there they build a barn. And then, Ben, you've described this to me. I'm like, when we're driving around, I'm like, how in the world do you get these kind of places? And it's, they start out with the little farmhouse.
What are you talking about, Seth? It's normal around here. What are you talking about? What do you have there?
Farmhouse. Then you build the barn, and then you know what? You don't want to walk to the barn in the snow in the winter, so you build this connector, right? And then that eventually gets built out into more home, and they turn into these really beautiful, fabulous places. They're so unique, and I love that. But sometimes that is a little bit how doing some planning can start too. It's like we start these families, and usually that kind of kicks off, right? Oh my gosh, I need to have some place to kind of domicile my family. And that's what we have. That's what we care about inside, and that's what we want to protect. And that's what we want to build towards and invest towards. But it can start out really small and just kind of these 4 walls that need to happen a term life insurance policy would be one of those things that you might want to put into place to really protect the family immediately.
Right. And that kind of stuff is totally the footing kind of scenario. Like you're a young married couple and you got, one or two children and you're like, I need some insurance. Well, term life insurance is going to be your best bet. That's the footing you're going to put in place to really accomplish your insurance needs. And then, when you first start out, it's like you don't just jump into the stock market and say, hey, I want to go, 100 miles an hour and let's go with some crazy, penny stocks or something like that. And we talk about penny stocks, they're real risk, high risk scenarios. No, you start with saving. You start with putting money in the bank.
Building that foundation, right?
Building that, putting that footing in place and getting there. And when you start realizing that, hey, I can save this regularly and I've got a little nest egg that's going to protect us in case something happens, well then, maybe we start looking at some simple investments, maybe some CDs, maybe some things that are a little less, committal.
Ben, I love that because you know what? Many times people want to jump into the investing side of things. And we've talked to people many times when they come in the door, they also want to start putting money away. But there's a reason why we don't do that. And the fact is that you destroy the integrity of what you've built. So if let's say you put some money into the market and you've put your $10,000 in there, let's say that the market has a big correction, which it could do, and it's down 30%, down 40%. All of a sudden you need that money for something. Well, you don't have your $10,000 anymore. You might have $6,000. And if you put money and don't have a kind of a cash reserve in place, that can really destroy the integrity of your foundation that you're building.
Right. I mean, and each one of these continues to climb, but as we step over to the legal side, the first step is going to be you have a couple of kids. You need a will. You need to name who's going to take care of your kids. And you have a little bit of insurance. Well, maybe you're not quite ready for a trust. Maybe you're thinking about it, but you don't have enough assets that justify it. But right after that will, you need the power of attorney, someone to manage your money in case you do get hurt. Then some healthcare directives. So if you're in the hospital, everyone remembers Terry Schiavo, in that case.
Sure. Florida,
and,
yeah.
Just, having the right people making the decision for your health. We always joke around, don't make your power of attorney the person with the healthcare directives.
Right, yeah, keep those separate, yeah.
But, that's, and as we keep kind of circling as we're talking here around this house, you're going to continue to develop more and more structures. Like you might move from term insurance on as you start climbing that ladder as you kind of spin around the house. You might start looking at, some permanent insurance variable programs. You might look at whole life. You might look at, universal life. If you're not sure what these things mean, there's different levels to the insurance and what their purpose is and what they accomplish. But maybe you're also looking at disability insurance. Maybe you're concerned your job, you're self-employed, you're a contractor, and
what happens if something happens to me?
Yeah, I know a young man who's hurt his shoulder. Was recovering well, and then slipped and fell on the ice. Boom! They almost completely undid all the work of the surgery that had happened. And that's a really, serious thing. And he's living off savings. It's just somebody I know indirectly, and I'm just like, oh man, I wish he had some disability insurance.
Yeah, those kind of things they happen all the time. Ben, you may know this. Folks from Concord Christian, where the lady recently got injured on a sailboat charter. I don't know if you heard about that at all, but out on vacation and got injured on a sailboat, and really, I mean, in need of a major back operation, and just it's amazing what those kind of things can do. Yeah, and we don't control those things. We don't control those things.
I don't want to go too far down this road with you, but you did remind me of a friend of ours over here that she was taking her groceries out of their minivan or car, and she hit just barely hit her head on the tailgate. I mean, it wasn't anything that you would
remember something about that.
Yeah, it wasn't anything that you would even bat an eye about. But later that night, I mean, it was like she couldn't hold a glass of water. Like she was having it got extensive. The like what happened through that, but the trauma that happened to them through that. But it was such a small little thing, insignificant, and it came out of nowhere. But one of those instances where there just wasn't any kind of protection in place, and at that point, there's nothing that you can't go get the protection at that point. There's like nothing that we've ever come across in those scenarios allows for that.
So in other words, if you've done a great job building up your assets, it can all go very, very quickly if you don't have proper insurances in place. And that's certainly something that we address with people when we're talking to them about their financial house, because when you build a house, you want to build a house that's solid foundation, that even though some different storms come along the way, that you can be taken care of. And that's really the role of insurance and how that can help you.
Well said, John. And John, just for the record, I'm going to tell you, you're right.
Thank you, Seth.
You got that, Ben?
I didn't hear that. Didn't hear that.
Do you agree, Ben?
I'm not sure.
Folks, you're listening to Money on Tap. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com.
Hi, my name is Seth Krusman, partner with Brayshaw Financial Group and one of the co-hosts of Money on Tap. One of the biggest concerns and largest expenses people face today is taxes. Without thoughtful planning, taxes can destroy future retirement dollars, eliminating the possibility of a timely retirement or dreams of what you want retirement to look like. If you're like most people, you're getting closer and closer to retirement, and you may be wondering if you're taking the right steps. Will my income be enough? Will rising taxes force me to give up my dreams? How does inflation factor into all of this? These are real concerns, and you're not alone. Putting a plan around your financial future is what we do. If you have questions when it comes to your financial security, and if you're looking for a personalized solution, contact us at Brayshaw Financial Group, 855-226-8551. It's time for you to start getting answers to your questions. Headquartered in Bedford, New Hampshire, Brayshaw Financial has offices across the country. We'd love the opportunity to show you how we can help. There's absolutely no cost or obligation to meet with us. Call us at 855-226-8551. 855-226-8551.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money on Tap, your personal finance headquarters, where we bring out the professionals' experience in some fun and what we call three-dimensional investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning. Now, you can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. Now, today, we're actually really rolling out a fun concept, one that we use regularly, the metaphor of building your financial house. And it really goes well with the three-dimensional investing piece, really looking at this from all sides. How do the pieces integrate? How do they work together? And Ben, to bring it back, you were right, and you said it very well. This is how financial planning starts. When you have all of these pieces, you've got the insurance pieces that you're looking at, the investments, the post-retirement income, legal wills, power of attorney. And when we pull all of those together and we can build this house, a structure that allows families to thrive, individuals to accomplish their goals and have, safety and protection inside of this, and, to have a future idea or goal that they can build towards. We've done some insurance work. We've talked about some of the foundational pieces here. But let's talk a little bit more about the maybe get into some of more of the fun stuff, right? Not the not the disability insurance that why you need that in place.
Well, as we kind of circle around this house, the three-dimensional concept of this, and who we are as a group, our goals, our mission is really just to create strong financial planning that really helps people find success in the direction that they're looking for. And that comes from looking at all sides of this house. As we talked about some of the investment things, that's usually what people first start with us. And as we kind of work through those pieces, we talk about, as you're kind of rising that rising on the side of, you're working out of the foundation piece, you're talking about the CDs, the savings accounts, the money markets, some fixed annuities and bonds. And that's going to be very foundational traditionally. And again, bonds are kind of one of those weird things where, depending on what grade of bond you're buying, it could be really conservative. It could be really conservative, or it could be really low.
Or junk bonds, yeah.
Right. So you got treasuries and things like that fall in there. And then you start moving into the variable products, like the variable annuities and the mutual funds. And then you start working into, owning direct stocks and having a little bit more individualized exposure. And then you get, as you get towards the roof, you start looking at that alternative space. You might be looking at real estate and oils and gas.
Tends to be more aggressive.
Yeah, more aggressive.
Some more risk involved as well.
Yeah, much more risk. And so as you're kind of working through those different pieces, that's what people usually come to us and ask us about. And as we kind of move over to the post-retirement side, which is most of the successful planning work people are hoping for us to provide for them, right? That's the other side of the house, the piece. We talk about those base levels. John, you talked about, the pension, and Seth, you mentioned Social Security. Yeah. So Social Security, pension, as you're kind of climbing that ladder. And then you've got maybe some annuities, fixed and variable annuities that, might provide income solutions for you there. And then we work into, usually, and this, you could have an IRA that would be in an annuity that would depend on the reasons and scenarios, but retirement plans that would be looking for distributions from. Maybe you own a 2-family or, piece of real estate that's providing some income for you, and determining how long that might last, and how stable and secure is that. And but as you're kind of looking at some of those other pieces that might be providing some, we meet a lot of people here in New England who own real estate that
Sure.
that count on that rental income.
Ben, I like what you're talking about, because you're talking about a lot of different components and a lot of different pieces. There are sometimes some people that, I don't know, but I know you've run across them, I have as well, where they have no interest really in doing any kind of investments because I just do real estate. That's all they do. And you know what? That's fine if that's how they want to work. But one of the things I think that you've been talking about is the fact that there's so many different pieces to a puzzle. And not that you need to have every single piece, but that really helps you from a diversification standpoint to have a lot of different types of securities, not have everything all the same. There's many people out there that they only want one thing. Well, I just do stocks. That's all I do. And that may work for them, but really having a diverse portfolio that is composed of a lot of different things really helps you from a diversification and a risk standpoint.
I remember meeting a gentleman who had all his money in GM bonds 15 years ago. And I said to him, I said, listen, I appreciate the fact that you're getting all these great rates, the interest off of these things, but the risk you're taking is, they're not going anywhere. Nothing's going to happen. They're not going to declare bankruptcy, and it's like, I feel bad for him. I don't know what happened to him. I have no idea. I'm just not interested in, so diversification obviously plays a role in all of these pieces, and that's good. But I think what we're trying to say here is when we talk about 3-dimensional investing, it's kind of like when we talk singularly about a foundation, about a first floor, about a roof, in that concept, it's like if you built a house and it only had one side, it would never have accomplished any of the goals of why you built it. It needs to have 4 sides, and it needs to have a roof. And, I think as we're kind of work through the financial planning process, there's the investment side, there's that post retirement income, which is obviously huge. And then we start getting into, which is why we ended up bringing an attorney on staff. It's just, so much legal work and all the different steps of legal. Like we start off with these basic wills and a simple power of attorney healthcare directives, but laws change regularly, and those need to be adjusted pretty often, more often than you'd even think. And then you've got, revocable trusts to avoid things like probate, and then you get into more complicated as your assets build on, the one side where the investments are happening. Then you start getting into concerns of like, well, maybe I need an irrevocable trust because I'm definitely going to pass a portion of these assets on to my children, and I want it to happen.
Sure. And how do I protect those from the dangers of, well, if I get sick from a nursing home, how do I help protect those assets that I've worked so hard over my whole life to accumulate? And sometimes that's done through the use of irrevocable trusts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of the articles that I read this last week, just the other day, was out of the Wall Street Journal, and it was about Sally Krawcheck, who had worked for both Citigroup and Merrill Lynch, and was a part of that merger with Merrill Lynch Bank of America. And where she was at, it kind of follows her journey of where she was at with Citigroup and owning a lot of the Citigroup stock, and going against the grain of what the culture was there. It was kind of like this blood oath, that unspoken blood oath of do not ever sell our stock, especially if you're, work in these capacities of the company. So anyway, she went against that and she sold it. And, today it was a good move, basically. So she got out of basically highly focused, concentrated equities position. And what she wound up doing is then rolling that back into another purchase with Bank of America, where she felt like if she was invested in that idea, that would keep her motivated and engaged. Well, apparently the rest of the group wasn't as invested as she was, and she wound up losing half of her $1 million purchase on that whole thing. But what I love about what she did is that she went and she did buy real estate, and the real estate was purposed. It was a vacation home, and it was not intended as necessarily an asset to build anything other than her family. And what was important for her was time with her family, and the real estate afforded that opportunity, but it did quite well. So there can be this marriage of the ideas that we have of I want to enjoy my family, or I have these ideas that I want to try to accomplish, and some of those are less tangible than the legal parts that we're talking about, the house metaphor that we're talking about. Some of that's more on the inside, but can be investments as well. Does that make sense? What I'm saying there?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think there's definitely a blending, a balance, an intentional effort for discovery inside, what your life goals, desires, dreams are to accomplish. I mean, I remember when my wife and I were talking about where we wanted to raise our kids, and we had some offers to work in the financial industry in some big cities, and we both looked at each other and said, you know what, we want to be back kind of where we grew up. We want our kids to have that experience, and that was a real intentional decision. And we knew it was a risky one because it didn't afford potentially the opportunities that we would have in kind of the big city space, and so there's a balance that we can personally appreciate. I know John has some thoughts around that too, and I just think that we as the three of us and a lot of the partners we have understand that very intimately in a lot of different ways, and why we do what we do and the reason we do it. That fourth side, as we talk about some of the insurance stuff, we've talked about, and all these are kind of interconnected. And I think about the nails inside connecting walls and floors and stuff like that. It's like, sometimes we have some dynasty trust work we've done with some attorneys for clients.
Why don't you explain that, Ben? What do you mean by dynasty trust?
Yeah, dynasty trust is where you say, hey, I have so much money. It's not just for my kids. It's not just for my grandkids, but it's for generations to come. And I want to make sure certain things happen for generations to come, and so forth. So sometimes they'll put very intentional assets there, but they'll also buy, high valued life insurance and pay for it so that trust will be funded with some significant insurance in case something happens in the near term. We've done stuff like that, but I mean, there's levels of complexity. So you're kind of crisscrossing the need for, a trust, a legal dimension that will have an offset with investments on one side, insurance maybe on another, and whatever post-retirement income's not spent, would maybe fly to different types of trusts, maybe education trusts, dynasty trusts. You might be having an irrevocable trust just for
charitable
the general
trust.
Charitable trust. We do a lot of charitable trusts. Yeah. There's complexities across the board in each one of these things. I think the one thing that, John, that's kind of coming to my head as we talk about this, as we work with clients, we have implemented a lot of pieces of technology to help people, one, start their house, maintain and manage their house with us, and to be informed, as well as, the fulfillment piece. Our client portal allows people to link all of their retirement plans. I think about Seth's little analogy about the barn and connecting the house and stuff like that. It's like people have a lot of different assets all over the place.
One of the biggest things we see all the time. In fact, Ben, I just remember a few weeks ago you had some folks that came in, some elderly folks, and when you talked to them on the phone, you had known these people from years ago, and they said, we have a lot of different stuff, Ben. And Ben said, bring it all in. So they came in with several shopping bags of, you name it, from stock certificates to annuity statements to wills to trusts that they had done in some cases many, many years ago. And what you're able to do, Ben, is you're able to kind of take all that stuff, we get copies of it all, and then be able to kind of start outlining and kind of going through an inventory of what these folks have. And there is stuff in there they didn't even know that they did have.
I know.
But then going from there, from a bunch of shopping bags to actually defining exactly what they have, getting rid of what they don't, as far as just documents that were old that had no meaning or no relevance anymore, and then be able to turn that into a client portal where the client can go on, click on an online link, and see their investments across the board. How clear is that compared to a couple of shopping bags that they bought in? It's a pretty cool transformation.
It's an empowering scenario, and they're like, wow. And I remember she was like, well, I'm probably not going to go on here very often, but we can manage it for them too. We can look at it. We can see what's going on, things that we're controlling versus things we're not controlling. It's all there. I talked to a woman the other day. She's, she's got 4 or 5 different 401ks, and she's like, yeah, it's quite a bit of money there, but I got to consolidate it. I don't know. It's like people don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
But sometimes, it's like, hey, I have this 401k, which maybe we as a firm can't manage, but they have these other assets we are managing. We can help them see them all together, their bank accounts, their CDs, and then we can build budgets inside there, which people hate the word budget. Right, Seth? People hate the word budget.
Not me personally. No, it's a word that we use in friendly terms around here. But yeah, people can start looking at the other person across the table, because usually there's one budgeter and there's one non-budgeter. There's the artist and then there's the engineer.
Right. Well, there's one thing that I find very interesting is everyone kind of has their own mental budget. I think we've all kind of recognized that, because with our ability to link people's credit cards, debit cards, things like that they can allocate very simply all their assets to different places. They can see what they're spending without having created a budget themselves to live by. And then they can just goal orientate themselves to save more, to spend less, to say, I'm spending $1,000 at Starbucks a year. I mean, that's $1,000. If I spend half that, we could go away for the weekend, and do something together. I've seen people really come around with understanding their financial their financial habits and create an awareness that's strong. And, honestly, when you talked about the blueprints, John, I think we talk about building the walls, but the truth is the blueprint starts with what you have and then organizing it in a way that, hey, we only have a certain amount of materials.
John, did you have anything else?
I think that's it. But the whole overall deal here, and what you were just mentioning with the client portal, is hugely helpful, because it helps people to see their house. It helps them to see the progress that they're making. It helps them to see what steps they need to take in the future. So, but that financial house is so key, so important to make sure that you're building that house in the right way for how you want it to be, and also so that when the storms of life come through, that it doesn't wreck that portfolio, doesn't wreck that house, and that you have the proper documents, the proper insurances, that type of thing in place to preserve that house throughout the years.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to jump in or say a whole lot more here, because that might just kind of muddy the waters. And one of the things I've liked is that there's been some perspective and there's been some clarity. The bringing in all these pieces, pulling it together in a way that makes sense and works towards your goals is really the three-dimensional investing concept that we're rolling out here, and building your financial house, and how we can help you to do that. To get a hold of us, you can reach us at 855-226-8551 or email us at info@yourmoneyontap.com. You've been listening to Money on Tap, and we enjoy and appreciate you joining us today. We look forward to talking to you more in the future. Have a great day.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of this radio station and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. No strategy, product, material, or tool mentioned can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information, products, materials, or tools mentioned should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. This show may be subsidized in whole or in part by a product sponsor or issuer. Securities and advisory services offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and a registered investment advisor. All other services offered through Brayshaw Financial Group LLC are independent of SagePoint Financial. SagePoint Financial and Brayshaw Financial Group do not provide tax or legal advice. Main office is located at 116 South River Road, Bedford, New Hampshire, 03110, and can be reached at toll-free 855-226-8551.